Welcome to SAT-TV News. I am Alicia George. In our top stories, no new taxes in 2014-2015 national budget. UWP Team Dominica presents a budget of hope through growth and employment. In the region, airport employees in St. Martin to undergo security screening. And internationally, Taiwan TransAsia Airways plane crash kills at least 40. Details of these will follow. Welcome back. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, presented a $552.4 million tax-free budget on Wednesday. The 2014-2015 national budget, presented during the first meeting of the fifth session of the 8th Parliament, according to the Prime Minister, is aimed at growth and development of the country and its citizens.
This government is mindful of the economic challenges which confront the population as a result of the impact of the global economic climate. Government is also aware of the impact on government finances and the imperative for introducing measures that will facilitate economic growth. The challenge for government is how best to maintain strong macroeconomic policies and prudent fiscal management, while at the same time attempting to meet the needs of its citizens, and especially to devise realistic responses to the needs of the private sector, who we see as our partners in development. In that regard, we have considered a number of recommendations made by several groups and obtained through discussions and through submissions made during the last fiscal year. For the record, Madam Speaker, I wish to confirm that we engage groups and individuals during the year, and we take note of the recommendations that are made either in writing or through various forums.
During his presentation, he noted a large-scale reduction in value-added tax, VAT, at this time would not be a prudent move. Instead, the government has taken the decision to remove the service charge currently applied by hotels.
During the preparatory stage and in the early days of implementation of the value-added tax, among the recommendations made and accepted was the application of a lower rate of VAT on hotel accommodation activities. As such, only a VAT rate of 10% is applied to rooms and dive services, while a general rate of 15% is applied to all other services, including food and beverage. I have always indicated, Madam Speaker, that the VAT is the backbone of revenue. The VAT replaced a range of taxes, including the consumption tax, the sales tax, and entertainment tax. The tax base was broadened and the rate set lower than the average rate of taxes which were removed. When it was introduced, we promised the nation that if the VAT performed well, we would reduce the rates of personal income tax. This we have done and continue to do. To the large-scale reduction which has been requested would not only be dangerous, but would be responsible on the part of government. Therefore, Madam Speaker, we have reviewed the proposal that has been made by the sector and have decided to remove the VAT on service charge, which is charged by the hotels. A service charge is commonly added to the services offered by a hotel. The service charge is not a government tax or fee.
The Prime Minister also spoke of a reduction of import duties on baby wipes and adult disposable diapers to take effect August 1st, 2014. Meantime, the Prime Minister also announced a 5% reduction in corporate income tax.
Among the requests of the private sector is a reduction in the rate of corporate tax. Corporate tax is set at 30% and is charged on profits. Government has considered this request within the context that companies have indicated interest in reinvesting profits back into these businesses. Government is supportive of the efforts in increasing economic activity in the country, and therefore has considered the request for reducing the rates of corporate income tax, which companies have indicated will be plowed back into investment. To that end, government has decided to reduce the rate of corporate income tax from 30% to 25% over a 2-year period. In the first year, the adjustment will be 2%, with the 3% being applied in the subsequent year. This measure will come into effect for income year 2015.
Government has also decided, effective August 1st, 2014, to remove the import duty of 5% and the customs service charge of 3%, which are now applied to computers.
I propose, therefore, that effective 1st October 2014, all persons 70 years and older with no known source of income or whose income is less than $200 a month shall be entitled to a cost of living grant of $200 a month from the government of Dominica. This initiative shall continue until such time as a modern system can be effective for the benefit of those who have contributed over the years to the development of our country.
People wishing to benefit from this measure will be required to register with the village council offices or with the constituency offices where they live. SAT-TV will bring you more on the budget presentation in Thursday's newscast. Increasing grant funding, provisions for increase to public officers, and placing a curb on wastage are some of the main points that were addressed during the United Workers' Party UWP budget presentation on Tuesday night. During the presentation, political leader Lennox Linton highlighted the party's ideas for economic growth in Dominica, noting Team Dominica plans to push the level of grant financing from the current 13.6% to 20% within the next 3 years if elected into government. Additionally, the party will devote a negotiating team to work together with the unions to address issues of salary increases and non-salary benefits among public officers.
This is important in ensuring that there are minimum disruptions to our budget process and the overall sustainability of our fiscal program. In our first budget, we will grant increases to public officers.
Linton predicts a 1.5% increase in the party's first and second year and a 3% increase in the third year if elected into government. Presently, government workers receive 45 cents for every dollar collected. The UWP also hopes to streamline government spending by reducing waste and improving efficiency within government operations.
These increases will be funded by savings derived from eliminating wasteful spending on an oversized cabinet of ministers, an army of useless advisors and political appointees, excessive travel, and unnecessarily high utility bills. Cabinet will be downsized from 16 to 10 ministers of government.
Linton stressed that all politically created advisor positions will be eliminated if the party is elected into government. Furthermore, it will continue to pursue the development of alternative energy sources such as solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal, since the party believes that high cost of energy is one of the major impediments to manufacturing and tourism sectors. Also on the agenda are incentive programs for private investors wishing to invest in Dominica.
Incentive programs for investors wishing to invest in the identified priority areas of agriculture and tourism. A rapid increase in private sector investment will help spur growth and have the added benefit of freeing up our resources to focus on other areas within the budget.
The UWP's overall strategy for rekindling growth in Dominica is to remove the most binding constraints on the most important growth sectors, including tourism, agriculture, construction, the diaspora, and foreign direct investment. The budgetary amount is estimated at $585,280,296, $33 million more than the current government's $552.5 million budget. A tropical depression headed for the Lesser Antilles has now downgraded to a tropical wave. This is according to Marshall Alexander, weather forecaster at the Dominica Meteorological Service.
We're in fact monitoring what is now a tropical wave, because at 11 a.m. this morning, the tropical depression number 2 was downgraded to a tropical wave, and it is now located about 365 miles east of the Lesser Antilles.
The tropical system is likely to reach Dominica on Thursday, with a possibility that the island may experience significant rainfall in the early hours, which is expected to impact the island for the rest of the day. Although the danger of a tropical depression has lessened, the general public is still being urged to be vigilant and to monitor and listen to weather advisories as issued by the Dominica Met Office.
We usually put out those warnings saying that persons in areas prone to flooding, landslides, and falling rocks should exercise caution, and also persons living near the coast should exercise caution against strong waves or heavy waves, or high seas rather. In the hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th, and the prediction calls for a below normal season. However, we always advise persons that regardless of the prediction, that preparations is always the key.
Motorists are advised to be cautious and to be on the alert for falling and fallen rocks, mudslides, landslides, and broken trees and branches. Farmers are asked to guard against securing animals along waterways such as rivers and ravines, including dry waterways. Fisher folk are to monitor the advisories on sea conditions and to be in a state of readiness to take the necessary action to safeguard their boats and fishing gear if the need arises. We now go to the People's Poll, brought to you by Beacon. When we return, more stories. Welcome back. Dominica's President, His Excellency Charles Savre, has highlighted the struggles of small island developing states, SIDS, noting that they need to find creative and innovative ways to reinvent and strengthen resilience of the states. The President made the remarks today during the first address to Parliament since assuming office last October.
Migration is also accompanied by remittances which have a major beneficial effect. In Dominica's case, for instance, it is estimated that there are between 120,000 and 160,000 first-generation Dominicans, that is, persons actually born in Dominica, living abroad in the diaspora. In light of these challenges, we in those small island developing states are left with no choice but to find creative and innovative ways to reinvent and or strengthen our resilience.
According to the President, in order to improve the country's economic growth, there is a need for nationals, both here and abroad, to work collectively.
Achieving and sustaining growth and development in small nations like Dominica is a complex and demanding task. This can be achieved only through the combined efforts of nationals at home and abroad, and an enhanced economic base in which more resilient activities will play a greater role.
His Excellency Savre said resilience building requires sustained investment efforts in education and training, energy independence, and infrastructure. He believes that this will help to diversify productive capacities in services and in activities with greater value added and knowledge content. A Brit Week hosted by the British High Commission began here on Tuesday and will continue until Friday. The visit by the British High Commissioner to Dominica, Victoria Dean, aims to highlight the strength of collaboration between the UK and Dominica and will mark the first time the British High Commission, UK Trade and Investment, the Department for International Development Caribbean, the National Crime Agency, and the Caribbean Criminal Asset Recovery Program partner to host such an event in Dominica. Dean, who is currently on island, feels this is a great opportunity to showcase the UK's strength in business, culture, and education. The week's public events will include an information session and information about travelling to the UK for Dominican nationals, as well as a consular information session for British nationals at the Fort Young Hotel on Wednesday, 23rd July. On Thursday, July 24th at 6:30 p.m., there will be a British film screening where film fans can view the popular Brit flick About Time at the Alliance Francaise building. 12 officers of the Division of Culture and Farmers are currently in Mexico being trained in family agriculture and rural development in an effort to build on their knowledge in various subject areas. They are part of 150 agricultural producers and technicians from the public and private sector from 15 regional territories focusing on capacity building programs. The training began on July 14th and will come to a close on August 29, 2014. Representing Dominica are Marcus Phillip, Don Francis, Kent Coppell, Dorian Etienne, Michael Eugene, Lucilla Lewis, Brent Sims, Anthony Cyril, Blanford Joseph, Bernard Nation, Trevon Douglas. The courses are part of a capacity building program designed to promote agricultural development in the Caribbean in 3 stages. This was organized under an agreement between the Inter-American Institute on Cooperation and Agriculture, ICA, and the Secretariat of Agriculture, Livestock, Rural Development, Fisheries, and Food in Mexico. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.